Hello riders, it's Josh from CycleHunters.com, and this today is one of the cool treats that we get every once in a while in this shop. This is a 1985 Kawasaki ZL900 Eliminator. So if you don't know, and maybe you're too young to know, this is essentially the very first muscle bike. Why? Dual overhead cam, 16 valve motor, 4-stroke, 908 cc's, 62.9 foot-pounds of torque, basically 115 horsepower. So they had a sport bike motor in a cruiser. And this thing lit the world on fire back in those days. With this bike, oh, well, we got some guys ripping fast here in a second here. So with this bike, back in the day, it really turned a lot of heads because it's not a traditional style cruiser at all. It's a shaft-driven bike. And it had that inline quality of a sport bike, not the twins that everybody was normally used to looking at and seeing. This bike's pretty much all original except for the horn. You know, the seat's got some tears on it. This is old stuff. You can get the material to cover this now. Right here. You know, the tank is in pretty good shape. There are some blemishes, but the bike is from 1985, so for it to look in this condition is pretty spectacular. It's a beautiful machine, and this thing rips. Dual disc brakes in the front. Got your dual exhaust, single rear. Bike's 567 pounds soaking wet. You know, it's a carbureted machine. Liquid cooled. Yeah, we got the battery tender lead on there. It's going through the 48-point check. Now, you're talking very simple controls here. High beam, low beam, left, right turn signal, your horn. You have your on-off button. And you also have your starter. Just make sure it's a neutral here. And a choker. Let's see.
When we service your bike, we hand you a key, not a need to have a toolbox. How about that one?
Choked. Let her warm up a little bit. 22,759 on the clock for a bike that was made in 1985. Not a whole lot of mileage. And it sounds as menacing as it did back in the day. That inline-4 motor in this package back in those days was extremely something to see and behold, and watch that thing rip down the street. Nice and smooth. Yeah. This thing rips. 1985 glorious muscle cruising. Get your mullet on, tear up the street and have a good time. If you're nostalgic and you've always wanted one of these bikes, I mean, I don't know where you're finding them if you can, but they're hard to get, and when they do get, available when they're available. They're not really that good a shape. Usually a whole lot more mileage than 22,000 miles. This is pretty low in terms of the overall mileage for these bikes, but as you can see, really nice shape. You know, we got some paint fade. Again, you're talking about a bike that's in the 80s, mid 80s. So you're gonna have some of these things, you're gonna deal with them. You could always get tins repainted, but a lot of people don't want any of that stuff done. They just want a nice retro classic looking style bike that's not gonna give them much of problems and really just kind of enjoy the ride. However, mechanical systems, things do break down, but you know, this thing's a survivor. She's been around. She's looking great for all the years that it's been sitting. She cleaned up pretty nicely. Sounds really good, and that was a cold start. Starts right up. It's a good bike. Now, every one of our bikes gets the 48-point checklist. I showed you the battery tender lead on here. So all these bikes, and especially something like this, we've gone through it. We have the records, all that kind of stuff. So oil filter's basic. If the bike needed it, it got it. And we really try to make it as nice as we can. And I don't really have much for the seats. Some stuff I'm gonna leave because it's a older bike and most people don't want that stuff messed with. So if you purchase it and you get it, you do what you want with it. Clean it up, maybe paint some little spots like that little section right there. Now you could really go to town on these. We've actually restored a couple of them and they're in use today. But there are things that you have to be aware of. Parts are hard to find. The shroud for that radiator was impossible on another bike that we went to look for. So, you know, we did eventually get one, but it took a while. But these things, if you've ever wanted one, you know, here it is. Check it out on the website, cyclehunters.com. We have aftermarket warranties available. We have some financing options available, although this one would not necessarily qualify, only mainly because of the fact that it's 10 years or older. You'd have to get a personal loan for something like that, just so you know. But this bike is ready to go. It's got everything it needs. It's just looking for you. So if you're digging the 1985 Kawasaki ZL 900 Eliminator, give us a call at 717-273-1809. You can see the full list of our current inventory at www.cyclehunters.com. We can deliver bikes if you're close enough. We can ship them. We do have some financing options, like I said. It really just is a matter of what is it that we need to do to help accommodate you so that gorgeous retro bike can be in your garage, ready to take you on that trip that you always had been dreaming about. So don't hesitate. Come check this baby out. It's a really cool bike. Again, it's not perfect, but for 1985, she is really, really nice. And it is a bike that is gonna give you a lot of smiles for miles. So come check it out. Come check out the inventory. Drop us a line. Like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. But until the next bike, happy riding.